Hi, ghost hunting fans! If you enjoyed Family Spirits, the adventures and evidence of Gallo family ghost hunters, you're going to love Family Spirits 2, Purpose and the Paranormal by Bobby J. Gallo. Paperback and Nookbook available through Barnes & Noble. More adventure, more evidence, more ghosts. Materialize your copy today.
Before I start, everybody gets a bookmark, free bookmark, souvenir, everything working for? Okay. There you go. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. We appreciate everybody coming. You're welcome. You're welcome. See, I anticipated you would say thank you, so I said you're welcome first. Okay, very good. Well, everybody, thank you for coming. Welcome to Kids in the Paranormal. And actually, all the light switches are like on that wall over there, just to show. It's a blue light. These two work. Yeah, I didn't notice that we were going to have like big windows here, so we're going to do the best we can to see what we can see here. I want to thank everybody coming. It's great that everybody's here at the Bash. We are the second lecture here, so it's not a Saturday lecture, so a little hard to draw a crowd, but I think the important people are here. That's all that really matters, right? Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Does anybody know who I or we are? I know you do, and I know you do, and I know you do. You guys don't. That's perfect. Because I like the people that don't know who we are yet. This is why I can tell you a little bit about us. We're not your average team. We actually started about, I started investigating in 1989, so I've been doing this a very, very long time. Back when I started investigating, the term paranormal investigator wasn't even coined yet. We were psychic investigators back then. I started basically investigating in an old theater that was ironically built by my two great uncles. And back then, the team member said, we got to call ourselves something, so he called us the Psy Guys. And it was, and we did some investigations, and by today's standards, it was pretty primitive. We were doing old 35 millimeter camera. We had a candle, we had a pendulum that was just a key on a piece of string, and that's what we were using. Years later, Weird, New Jersey got wind of this, and they thought it was so novel that we were pioneering it so early on. They actually did a 5-page spread on my first investigation in Weird, New Jersey, so that was kind of cool, that was fun. Kind of weird, kind of late, I would say. I was like, better late than never on that one. But years later, I got out of it, got married, had some kids, raised a family, and my kids at the time saw this brand new television show on TV called Ghost Adventures. She was 8 years old at the time. Sunday she's going to be 22. And I was laughing, and I'm looking at these three random guys doing things that I was doing back in 1989. Not that much different. It was very, very similar. The methodology, everything was kind of close. So we're about 10 episodes in. I said, well, now's as good a time as any to tell them. And I turned to him and said, kids, Daddy used to do that too. And all of a sudden, the world stopped. The world stopped, and it was like that moment in the movie Spy Kids. Have you ever saw that? Where the young little boy says, my parents aren't cool enough to be spies. They just couldn't believe that I actually did this. Well, immediately they wanted to go ghost hunting. No fear, no hesitation, nothing. So I said, all right, let's try it. So I brushed up on the newer methodology, what investigators were doing today, and we went out, and all that we wanted to do was get one EVP like these guys on TV were getting, one photographic anomaly, anything. We would have been happy. We ended up getting so much evidence that it was blowing our minds, and I had absolutely no idea how good they ended up being at this. And so, you know, me, I'm the typical dad. You know, I'm putting everything on video because and I said, you know what, this might be a novel thing to upload to YouTube. Now, keep in mind, back then, you could count the number of people doing paranormal web series on YouTube on one hand. So it was so novel at the time that April Abercrombie, she runs Facebook's Ghost Advice, and she does the afterwards in her first book, Family Spirits, thought it was so novel, she said, this is like a fourth ghost hunting show to watch, because nobody else was doing it. Because there was Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, and Paranormal State at the time. Those were the, and if you look at the UK, they had Most Haunted too. Okay, so let me throw those in too. But she was like, it's like another ghost hunt. This is so cool. And then, as we know, now there are literally thousands of paranormal web series on YouTube. But back then it was novel. Believe it or not, we became very, very popular in the UK, in England. And we were getting invites to go over there to investigate. And to this day, well, let me backtrack a little bit. So we ended up doing about 60 investigations in some of the most haunted locations in Earth. We started traveling around doing this, giving some stunning evidence, some of which I'm going to be presenting to you today. And we developed, like I said, a fan base overseas and some in the United States. And I floated it out there. I said, if I wrote a book on this, would you read it? And everybody said, oh my God, you gotta do this. So we published Family Spirits, The Adventures and Evidence of Gallo Family Ghost Hunters. And it ended up hitting number 3 on Amazon in the adventure travel category. To this day, has sold more copies in the UK than the United States, which we actually expected would happen. They gobbled it up over there. A couple years later, we had so much more evidence, and I wanted to write on a different subject matter that we published Family Spirits too. So that is basically our story. But here's the thing. The one question people always ask me, you were ghost hunting with your kids. Isn't there risks involved in that? And back then, and I have, you know, my attitudes have changed over the years because obviously things change with experience, right? So I said, let me put together a talk on this for people who want to know about investigating with the kids. So when we started doing it, you know, I always tell people you have to understand what we were seeing on TV. I mean, first of all, Zach wasn't getting possessed every 5 minutes back then. And, okay, so, it's just the fact, right? We weren't aware of a lot of the risks and a lot of the dangers back then. So I'm going to say that right up front. Would I have done things differently if I knew what I knew now? Yes, I would have. But the kids were so open to these things. And you know, remember the movie where the kid says, I see dead people? There's a lot of truth to that. Kids are very open to paranormal energies, and as they get older, they get jaded, they get caught up in other things in life, and then you lose these abilities. But back then, they were, you've heard the term ghost magnets, you've heard the term ghost bait, you've heard the term beacons, lighthouses. They were all of that. And I'm going to show you some real concrete proof of that in just a second. But they ended up, they were fearless, Courtney especially. She would go out in the middle of the night into the haunted cemetery. She wanted to find a ghost, and many times she did. But you know, it's a weird dynamic. They wanted to do it, but you know, I knew all along that I always kept a close eye on them, and there were some things that we didn't do, in some cases that we wouldn't take, in some places that we wouldn't investigate. But overall, it's really built their character up as kids. They are the strongest women, both of my kids now, strongest young women, fearless. You know, there's adults that say, I could never do what you did. I said, she was 8 when she did it, and she was fearless then. But there were times that you got scared, right, Courtney? Yeah. What do you think? What were like some of the... what is it called? The one in that call. The Palace Theater.
Yeah, that one I got really scared.
Because that's the one you saw the orbs.
That was when I saw the orbs. It was more when it was late at night, and we started hearing furniture. We started hearing like footsteps at the top. This was after I saw the orbs. It was dark, it was really late, and I just kind of got freaked out. I was like, okay, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah. My oldest daughter, our negative experience was with my oldest daughter. And a lot of times I don't talk about this. I don't even really discuss it the way I'm going to tell you about it now, because you read both my books. And you read both my books. Well, you read the first book, you're going to read the second book. But remember, there was an episode called The Gatekeeper. And I'm going to give you one part of the backstory I did not give you in the book. It was our most negative experience because through a ghost box, a spirit was messing with my oldest daughter. Unfortunately, at the time, one of her friends committed suicide. And she was distraught, and all of a sudden the messages are coming through the ghost box about her friend who committed suicide. And it was devastating to her. And it was the symptom of the spirit trying to get us out of this place, because I had done post-investigative research on this cemetery, and I found out that there was voodoo rituals being done there. They found decapitated chickens, so it's probably Santeria, and all of these negative things. And I chalked it up to them just not wanting us to be there. It was draining our equipment constantly. We have all this on video until it drained our main video camera. Then we had to resort to our cell phones. And you can see this all online. And because they didn't know who we were. This was in Rock Hill. No, this was in Fort Mill, South Carolina. And we didn't have any family there. And here's these strangers coming in with flashing lights and beeping equipment. They didn't know what we were going to do. So they wanted us gone. And it was one of those places I would never go back to again. But, you know, and there was times when they got scared. However, they've also caught some killer evidence. One of which I'm going to show you today. It might blow your mind. I don't know. I mean, you might have seen some really good evidence before. But all the clips I'm going to show you are centered around the kids. I mean, because we have literally hours of footage. So what I'm going to show you involve the kids in one way or another and things that the kids caught. Because that's what I want people to see. Because a lot of investigators out there have a lot of great evidence, but these are things the kids caught. The first one, and then I'm going to open it up to Q&A after we're done. I mean, we have time. That's why I wanted to get through the intro really quick here, so I can show you the evidence and I can answer questions. So the first one, the first one, most of these are EVP based because you'll be able to hear it. I was thinking, I can't, you know, you're going to have trouble seeing it, but this was one of the situations that freaked me out as a dad. Because we were going through Laurelwood Cemetery in Rock Hill, North Carolina. And we always keep the EVP recorder running, even if we're not doing an EVP session. And that's how we get our best EVPs. Not when we're doing the session, just by keeping that thing running and then doing that grueling hour upon hour evidence review, but all of a sudden you get it. We're in, Courtney is doing Courtney's thing, and you're going to see her, she's a little pipsqueak, and she even explains how her EMF detector works, which is really adorable. But all of a sudden you hear a spirit come out of nowhere and said, "Come here, Courtney." You're going to hear it. Now, I said in the episode, come here, because it freaked me out, and I didn't want to freak them out at the time. It's the only time I ever falsified evidence, but I would do it again. And actually said, "Come here, Courtney," and you're going to hear it. Now, please realize the equipment was now 12 years ago, and the editing is tough, but I think you're going to be able to hear it. So let this go here. Here it is. Come here, Courtney. Here we go.
Confederate soldier right here.
Did you hear it?
Oh my goodness,
Confederate soldier right here.
Replay. And there's the
So why don't
word.
you tell us what do you have going on there?
I have them with me in prison.
what is older ghost mode? What exactly is that?
It's more sensitive than the EMF detection mode. It picks up, it can pick up less energy compared to the EMF detection mode.
So like older energy and older ghosts?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so if that goes off, that means we have something in the area?
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
So that's it. I always like to keep that in because it goes to show how they learned, and even at such a young age.
Doesn't look
No,
like
no,
they
no,
want
you
to
can't
make themselves
listen to
known
the
today. But we,
No, gotta go back. Gotta tell you what these things are. This thing auto plays, which I don't.
all right, I think we're going to move on. It doesn't look like.
No, don't do that yet. Come on. Okay. All right. So that was one thing that freaked me out as a dad. Since it's already on this. Now, Courtney was a little older at this time. And this shows how she actually made a ghost laugh. You're going to hear this. What happened was we were in the old burying point in Salem, Massachusetts. And I picked out a corner. The place is always flooded with tourists. And I wanted to get a corner where I could investigate. So Courtney's cracking jokes the whole time. And, you know, me, I'm always trying to be Mr. Serious Investigator, you know. Sometimes I would get annoyed. But they're always cracking jokes. And she's like, come on, just talk to us, and I'll play hide and seek with you. I'm like, no, Courtney, don't do that. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the thing, we didn't think we got anything. And what happened was, we start laughing. And when I'm doing evidence review, I said, wait a minute, and I backed up and I listened to it again. What happens is there's another voice that comes in and laughs with us. And so at a different frequency entirely, but you're going to hear it. And this is we call this episode Laughter at Old Burying Point. So let's do this one. Come on. Oh, there we go.
But we,
Let me try. Let me do this.
Confederate soldier right here.
No? Okay, here we go.
All right, I think we're going to move on. It doesn't look like they want to make themselves known today. But we,
As soon as you hear my wife say, it's quiet, you'll hear it.
give us a recap, girls.
Well, I have no idea. Well, honestly, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's quiet.
It's quiet.
Did you hear that?
Quiet.
Listen to the replay.
It's quiet.
Quiet.
It's quiet.
Quiet.
It's quiet.
Quiet.
It's quiet. Now, Nicola, you were getting some blips on your ghost.
That was,
but they're going in and out. Is that right?
Yeah, there's one, but I doubt it's anything. It's just a little blip.
Right.
Words, it kind of makes sense. Yeah, see, it's little loops over in this area.
And basically, the Iopolis list, some words were relevant, some weren't.
Yeah, looks like these ghosts are a rat piece.
Yeah, it looks like it's a
No, they weren't. They're right there with us. But this is what happens with us all the time. We end up getting all of this evidence after the fact. And when we get home to evidence review, sometimes we have no idea what we actually caught. So that was Laughter at Old Burying Point. The next one was really cool. Bless you. The next one I really like because it shows you that the spirits are watching you whenever you're doing these investigations. This is another really good EVP. We were at the Battle of Huck's Defeat, and there's an old village there, Revolutionary War village, and we were in the doctor's office, and Courtney, being very small, starts reading off of a list of names, and we wanted to see if we can get a match because we were getting names through our Iopolis. EVP comes through as clear and says, "Can you read?" No, because little girls, 200 years ago, many of them never learned how to read. So it was actually very intrigued that she was able to read. So you're gonna hear this one. I love this one.
Victoria. Alexandra and Victoria. What was that? What was the thing?
Probably last time we came back there, those
Victoria Alexandria?
No,
Oh, no.
Can you read? Crazy, right? Exactly when she was reading the names off the thing. Can you read? I mean, and it's funny when you're doing evidence review and you hear that, they're just the chills from head to toe.
wait. What was it?
Victoria
Replay.
Alexandria?
No,
Oh, no.
There's something else at the end of that, too. Did you hear about that?
Yes. Yes. That's not even our best EVP. We have one EVP that will blow your mind, but had nothing to do with the kids. I can play it for you if you want, but
Yeah.
okay, you want to hear that one? All right. Our most famous EVP, and we were just on Our Haunted Lives, with which is on Paraflix, and David Taylor literally says, this is the EVP every paranormal investigator dreams of getting. And what makes it cool is it was caught by accident. Again, we had the EVP recorder going the entire time, and as we were leaving the cemetery, and it was just my wife and I, and all of a sudden, a voice comes in out of nowhere and says, "Come back," and then 5 seconds later, "Don't leave now." Same voice, female voice. We found out later who it was. It was somebody buried there named Nancy. But this is a cool one. This has nothing to do with the kids, but it is really cool. So we get played for it.
And we have two EVP clips out, and we're going to play the first one for you. And this was just as we were walking back to the car. Let's see if you can hear exactly what it says.
You hear my wife saying, "I don't want to step right," but she likes to step between the graves.
Let's try that one more time.
Next one's better.
Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to amplify this so that you can hear it again.
It's good because I can't hear it well.
That is a clear EVP saying, "Come back." We were going to the car, we were leaving for the
See, it was
day,
relevant too.
and
That's another thing.
EVP is
You're getting
saying,
it's
"Come
because we were
back."
leaving.
Listen to it again. Again. Again.
If you listen close, you can hear the K at the end too. Come back. I mean, there's enunciation
We're
there.
going to go to the next one. We weren't out of the cemetery yet, and yet we captured another EVP. It's a female voice. The same entity follows up with another EVP. It's unbelievable, folks. I never had to.
Now this is back when nobody was doing this.
Did you hear that?
Don't leave now.
Listen to it again. 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 The first one says, "Come back." The second one says, "Don't leave now." Same voice,
Okay, I don't think
two
you-
EVPs.
I overdo it and play it a million times. You get the idea. Now, okay, so we did laughter at Old Unity Cemetery. This one, I'm not going to play the stairway boards where she got scared because you're not going to see it. They're too faint to see on this wall, unfortunately. But I'm going to point you to the web series where you will be able to see it. The last one I'm going to show you is really the big finish. This is the coup de grace. This is our most famous piece of evidence. And it was caught by my oldest daughter. The situation was this: we were investigating a family burial plot in South Carolina on a plantation, had a big reputation for being haunted, but nobody could investigate it because it was on private land. So I said, all right, let me give it a shot. Got the family in the car, drove up to the plantation, big plantation house, walk up there, ring the doorbell, elegant woman answers the door. I said, see that car over there? That's my family, my 2 kids, my wife. I said, would you allow us to investigate it? We heard it's haunted. Oh yeah, sure, no problem. I said, so if the cops come, we can tell them that, oh yeah. And she ended up giving me this entire backstory. Turned out it was a Revolutionary War hero. His name was Thomas Sprott. His present name of the family is Spratt. They changed it, but it was Sprott back then. And apparently he helped the Catawba Indians defend themselves against the Shawnee. It was an Indian war going on at the time. In return, the Catawba would help the United States forces against the colonial forces against Lord Cornwallis, who was marching toward Charleston, Charlotte. Okay? So, apparently his ghost haunts the cemetery. So we go in there, and the second we go in there, we get all kinds of activity. In fact, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you this. Now, let me tell you exactly what happens. My wife is communicating with the dowsing rods. And we asked if it would allow us to take a picture of it, because our equipment was lighting up all over the place. It was so active. And it said yes. I said, okay. So I told Nikki G, my oldest daughter, I said, start taking pictures. We were using an IR camera, Bell & Howell S7 Slim, and all of a sudden she sees something start to happen through the LCD. What started out as an orb grew to an ectoplasm cloud, and then finally a full body apparition standing right next to me. You're going to see this. And the whole time she's going, Dad, you got to see this. And I'm trying to be Mr. Professional, saying, no, honey, we'll do evidence review later. She's like, no, you got to see this now. You're going to see this all play out. Because I'm taking video as she's getting this, and then you're going to see them. And we believe it is the apparition of Thomas Sprott, who was gracious enough to let us take his picture.
People come out and clean it up for you. Does that make you happy? Yes.
This was in the middle of the night, in an abandoned cemetery in the middle of the woods.
There's a lot of noises around here. Honey, where did you put the flowers back over there?
Right. We did bring you flowers. We were here last time. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember that we were here last time? It was just Bob and I. Do you remember that?
Both rods go right to me.
We were both
Oh my gosh, I just got the chills.
We remembered to bring you flowers just like we promised we would.
There's Courtney,
And I'm very happy that they're going to
8 years old.
Oh my gosh.
We'll do evidence review later, sweetie, not now. I'm serious too.
Serious, look at that.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I just took a mommy.
We'll do a blow up
It
here.
was towards you and that came up.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Now we thought that was going to be it. And as you can see, there's my wife's head, and all of a sudden this big ectoplasm cloud's completely exterior. That to me, that would have been enough right there. But then it gets better. She has no idea she's about to capture it again right now.
I just saw it again.
Sorry.
No, I'm serious. Look at the mark off the longest. That's another one right next to the longest.
That's amazing.
Look, show me.
You're right. There's nothing that can be doing that. Renee, look at this. Look at this.
Wait, right by you.
Aww. That's because you're speaking. You're clear. Saying
Look at that, folks.
That's unbelievable.
Isn't that amazing, folks?
Yeah.
What makes this cool is it's starting to form a head. As you can see, the main body here, and it's starting to form a head. And if you look at her EVP recorder, it's so light in here. If this was dark, it'd be clear as anything. You can see it actually draining energy. The energy is literally being sucked out of the EVP recorder into the cloud to do what you're going to see next.
What other evidence do you want to get?
What, is it really?
Yeah.
Let me see.
See, that was not there. That's spiritually pushes, and astronomically pushes everybody. Daddy.
And there he is. You can see the body, the head, the cloak. That's my back, which is my better side. But you know what I'm going to do? Just so that you guys can really see it clearly, because you cannot see it on here. It's in our book. We can pass the book around. There it is right there.
Wow.
Yeah? Yeah, just pass it. Yeah. Yeah, you have the book.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you can pass it down to them over there. Yes, like a cloak. Yeah, it seems to me it was a cloak. At least, I mean, I'm assuming that's what it was. But we were so sure that it was the spirit of the person we were trying to contact, because even the next day we went back and contacted him again, and he literally led us through the woods to an old fort that they had built 200 years ago. And that's, Ghost Guide is the name of that episode, and we know it was legit because as my wife is using, as it's leading us with the dowsing rods, I have an EMF detector, and I'm like tracing the signature exactly where it's leading her with the rods. Right to this fort. I mean, we didn't know where it was. And we're dodging fire ant mounds. The fire ant mounds are like this big, and it's really freaky. But, yeah, so.
When you got there, could you tell us the fort was there or anything like that?
Just the foundation. Just the foundation. But we had heard about it. Thank you very much. So, now, you missed one of the good EVPs.
No, sorry. I had to go get her.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Which one did you guys like that I could replay for them? Can you read now? Can you come back?
He'll come back on Monday.
Come back, don't leave now?
All right.
Did you ever
It's
go back?
everybody's favorite. What's that?
Did you ever go back and ask her?
Oh,
a question?
yeah. Her name was Nancy. We found her grave, which was toppled over, but she used to, communication with her ended up being so dependable that we used it as a control location for equipment, because she was like more than happy to communicate with us. Yes, we did. This is our best EVP. It was, I gotta tell you, it was caught completely by accident.
EVP closed out, and we're going to play the first one for you. And this was just as
My wife and I were leaving a cemetery. We left our EVP recorder on. Ghost comes out of nowhere and says, "Come back." And then 5 seconds later, "Don't leave now." You're going to hear it. It's the best EVP caught completely by accident.
we were walking back to the car. Let's see if you can hear exactly what it says. Let's try that again. Let's try that one more time. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to amplify this so that you can hear it again. That is a clear EVP saying, "Come back." We were going to the car, we were leaving for the day, and an entity, EVP, is saying, "Come back." Listen to it again. 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 Unbelievable. Now, we're going to go to the next one. We weren't out of the cemetery yet, and yet we captured another EVP. It's a female voice. The same entity follows up with another EVP. It's unbelievable, folks. I've never had two in a row like this. So listen. Did you hear that? Listen to it again. Again.
Come back, don't leave now.
Again.
The cool thing about that EVP is the relevance. I say that over and over. As clear as it is, we were leaving. And it's saying, come back, don't leave now. I mean, that, you know, EVPs are one thing, but when you get it and it's telling you about the situation you're in, that's something else entirely. So, we don't have a lot of time. Got like 12 minutes. So, are there any questions? Because questions, yes.
Yeah, that don't come back. It sounds like there's a third word after that too.
You know, Christy Grissom said that on Our Haunted Lives. She said saying something else after that. So you have good ears.
And another one. Back in 1989, what kind of equipment would you have?
This is what we used, a 35 millimeter camera, the VHS recorder that went over your shoulder, big thing, oh yeah, candle, pendulum that was just an old key on a piece of string. We used a pocket compass as an EMF detector.
What was it?
Pocket compass. You can still use pocket compasses as an EMF detector. People don't know that. It's the cheapest EMF detector in the world. That's all we had back then. What else did we use? Flashlight. And I think that is basically everything. And I still have the bruise from the golf ball that hit me in the arm. There was poltergeist activity. The owner of the theater was terrified at the time. There were objects as large as bread toasters being thrown at him. It was off the charts. And the golf ball was the only thing that we experienced, but that was enough. To this day, if you go to that theater and you watch one of the shows, thank God, it was a movie.
How do they always capture so much evidence? No one does it like Gallo family ghost hunters. Hey folks, if you'd like to stand out on your next ghost hunt, be sure to investigate ghostgear.info for original paranormal clothing designs and ultra cool swag you won't find anywhere else. You make perfect ghost bait, just saying.